You came out here and gave the touching speech, the touching story, I believe, and tried to evoke our emotions with your very compelling story about your ex-boyfriend. What you did well, I know one of the things that you focus on as a Toastmaster is being more conversational, sounding less canned, less prepared. You did that really well in this speech, better than I've ever seen you do it. You did it a couple of times by breaking into your own character when you were talking about Nick coming up, sitting next to you, and you were like, dude, what are you doing? That was great. When you were talking about texting me, that was great. Not just because you name dropped me, but because you actually did the thing. And when you're talking about, 5% of people are just assholes. That's something that you would say at a bar. Those were all great. The lessons that you proposed here, there were 3 simple lessons. They were stated in the very beginning of the speech, and you expanded on them in very practical ways, which was good. You can meditate or go to therapy to decrease your fear, that kind of stuff. The more specific a call to action you can give to people when you're giving them lessons, that's always really good. The things that you needed to do a little bit better. The purpose of the speech was the touching story. I personally didn't feel particularly touched by it. I think the reason was twofold. One, you didn't spend much time on Nick and Huntington's disease, which is the really touching part of the story. I think if you expanded on Huntington's disease, went to vivid detail about how it really affects your motor skills and what this was going to mean for him for the next 40 years of his life, it would have been a little bit more effective on an emotional level. I also think at times your body language and your tone of voice, it was more conversational, but it wasn't very emotional. I think you need to be a little bit more comfortable breaking into that deep sadness or whatever emotion you're trying to feel. There's this theory in hypnosis and meditation, which is called go first, where if you want somebody to feel something, you need to feel that emotion first. So if you want your audience to be sad, you need to be up here and be sad. I really recommend going and watching Jacinda's video from a couple weeks ago where she got her CC. She talked about a kitten farm and how all the kittens got killed off, and she was just incredibly sad up here. And if you go back and watch that, her tone of voice and her body language, try to emulate what she does. I think that would be a good role model for you to break into those feelings on stage in the future. There were a couple of structural issues too. The big one was that you gave us 3 points in the beginning of your speech, do this, this, and this. You didn't repeat them at the conclusion. So it would have been nice to do that. One more minor issue, one of the first things you said was 5% of people are assholes, and you said this in terms of your first point, which was take time to get to understand people. I think the implied practical advice was only 5% of people are assholes, so give most people the benefit of the doubt and try to understand them. But if you had been a little bit more explicit, that would have been a lot better. I have more, but I'll text you about this. Is there dinner?